Okay. Okay, I think that this is live now. And let me see what the actual YouTube is showing. So the YouTube is just showing the, I see, so it's just doing a screen share from my other monitor, just grabbing the whole Jitsi chat. And I think that the people that are watching right now, they're not exactly, it's just showing random avatars. It's not actually showing like a video picture or anything like that. Basically, we're just trying all this out as an experiment to see if we can get both video and the chat in the same frame. So just more like a Twitch type of setup where you have like the video kind of like in the center or the chat in the center, just wherever way we want to set it up. So I'm gonna pop in an extension real quick and try this out. Okay. Has been added to Chrome. Let's look at this. Settings. No. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I can see your message is fine. It's in, basically I have the general channel of Rocket Chat shared in my external monitor right now, and that's what's actually being streamed to YouTube at the moment. So this is basically the really rough way of doing it, since you can hear me talking because of all the voice, but you can't see it. I don't actually have a second. Use a wireless headset, the battery's dead. What would be really cool is that if anybody's watching, if they're actually in Rocket Chat and they've joined the video chat, if they could actually start using their mic, so I know that I'm not just that I'm able to hear other people. Okay, I actually log into this thing. So I guess one question that I have for, okay. An actual README, that might help. Okay, that's not helping at all. I mean, that's cool. I'm just wondering how to actually load into this. I'm guessing what it does is it just allows you to show the Jitsi on the same screen, or... Oh, wait, I'm doing this wrong. Okay. Let's not log in for everyone to see my password and shit. All right, one. Sweet. Oh, that's strange. So that pushes you to a random... This is not helpful. So it's weird. It's almost like automatically coded just to bring up this other demo Rocket Chat and not to actually get this loaded into the one I'm currently in. Yeah, so Tanager, I might need some help on figuring out how to actually use this. How do you actually use this in the in this Rocket Chat, because when I click on the just when I click on this, it pops up this random other Rocket Chat, which I obviously will not be able to log into because I don't have the login for this. And sadly, the page that has the information for this isn't actually like the README document just goes to the links to the that are already here for the. All right, come on. Manifest use. No, you're on the right one, Tumum. This is just we're trying it out. I find it interesting that it doesn't actually tell you. Okay, I only see 2 people in this video chat, and it's Zarathustra and Orion. Open, close chat. Oh, I see. So you actually automatically do get some sort of a chat presence in. Well, yeah, I mean, I can turn the camera on or off if I want to. Basically, the problem is that the way that it's set up is that you actually have to actively stop sharing the screen to be able to show your face on camera. So it's just one of those things where it's kind of set up like that. So then if I go here, okay, I see. Then I can just basically set up which screen that I want to share. And then currently it's just going to show that. So then I can kind of at least pick and choose sort of which things that I want to be showing on the stream itself. And it looks like the stream paused. Weird. Because I'm looking at the actual stream listed on YouTube and it's just showing only the camera, nothing else. This is strange. It's currently, I already got it, yeah. Has been turned off to save bandwidth. That's such a weird thing to show. Let's see. How do you actually get to that? So yeah, just go there and click the video button that you see right here. So the weird thing that I'm seeing right now is that looking at, let's see, where is it? I'm not sure if this is actually getting streamed or not. It's very strange. So noticing that the, let's see. This is actually kind of frustrating. Basically, what I'm trying to do is just, wait, is somebody else taking control of the screen share here? That's strange. Because that's a problem. Okay. So basically, I want to ask that anybody that's in this right now, try not to mess with anything or try to screen share your own stuff, because then it kind of messes me up to see if this is actually working or not. No worries, that's fine. I mean, this is still an experiment, so we're just trying to figure it out. But yeah, no, that extension is weird, because when you actually press the button in the extension, and just like your browser, it just loads up that other chat box. The other thing too right now that I'm noticing is that I'm looking at the, okay, now it's finally showing the correct, that is so weird. So I'm trying to find, okay, so right now, okay, so that is the actual, okay, let me just post this in this general chat over here. So that's the YouTube link to the California Pirate Party channel. And for some reason, even though I am streaming live from this account in the Google Creator Studio, it's not actually showing this on the YouTube channel. I'm not sure why that is. I guess there's something else that I have to do to confirm to start it. That's one thing that I'm not exactly 100% sure on. Because when I go to the YouTube channel for this, it's not actually displaying. Yeah, no. So Tim, we're not using Talkspace today for the test that we're doing. We're focusing on using the Jitsi that's just built into Rocket Chat, and we can obviously try Talkspace some other time, but for now, that's kind of what we're focusing on.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yay!
So my question is that we're talking, obviously we're using Rocket Chat to talk, we're using the Jitsi Meet, whatever. But I'm noticing that the actual California Pirate Party YouTube channel doesn't actually show anything. Does it not show the video until after you complete the stream, or how does that work?
As far as I know, with Google Hangouts, it live streams.
Well, no. So what I've done is that I went into the California Pirate Party account, and I'm running the live streaming, which is coming from the Jitsi chat, and it shows that it's live and all that kind of stuff. But how do I actually get that link to show up in?
I have no idea. I've never done that part of it.
That's what doesn't make sense. It's like it's because normally when you guys start it, it just automatically starts showing it in the because you guys usually get a link for it, and I'm just wondering how you're supposed to get a link for it. Let's see.
Sargon is tracking me. This is the only way. Don't try to stop me.
Let's see.
Join you.
Because I'm assuming that no one else is actually seeing the stream being listed from
Raise the particle
the
barrier. Scan for Galra.
California
We're
Park.
keeping a lure. It appears that one of the
Yeah, for some reason, the plugin in Firefox couldn't get Red to cooperate.
middle of the night,
Yeah,
So-
that one's kind of bizarre.
sitting in a tree. Contact the boss. Contact that bot. Princess, Kate, where are you?
Exactly where we should be, far away from the castle.
Yeah, okay, so welcome back, California Park Party. You still have questions? Check the frequently asked questions. Sure, Google, I will try your.
Isolating
um,
in order to
where can I find all of the archives of my live streams?
Never mind. Pete is right.
Computer Studio Video Manager.
They're not the ones he's tracking.
Split up the group makes us far more vulnerable. Come back to the castle immediately.
I'm sorry, Shiro. I cannot do that.
If Darkon does find us, I can pilot us safely.
Oh, is my live stream public? If you are using the stream now, you can select public, unlisted, or private. I wonder if I have this selected as private or something.
Back here now.
That might be why it's not.
Some sort of debris
Oh, privacy, unlisted. That's why. Okay. So now if I change this to public, I think this should switch it to actually showing up on the channel.
reestablish the link.
It might take a little while for it to kind of like adjust, but let me try that. I'll actually start and stop the live chat from Jitsi real quick to see if it can pick it up that way. Let me see if that works.
Not anymore.
Okay, let's check this out. So right now, I'm just showing the chat.
He's not. We can still help.
When we start a Hangout, it gives us a URL to copy and paste to see it.
Okay. Oh, come on.
I see.
Get flying in no time. Set up right.
And where does it give you that link?
We've been here for hours. Still no sign of Sargon.
Well, I don't have a phone. You understand, I could never live with myself if Zarkon was finding us because of me. I must know. We face such a dire threat from the Golden.
Advanced settings. Let's see.
They're bad. No doubt about that. But at the same time, couldn't at least a few of them be good?
Yeah, it says promote on my channel page when the event is live. Let's see.
One life means nothing to Zarkon.
It means something.
Ow, ow, ow.
Breeby, are you jumping around and bumping into things?
No, I scratched my foot on it.
Crazy to
If there are any good Golda, they have had 10,000 years to take down Zarkon.
Okay. I see. Broadcast alert. I see. You can do some of these. Open a new video. No, I don't want that. Public view. Okay, so that's.
coordinates near your current location.
I see. So you have to go to this weird like events page, which then will load like your some information, and then you can grab a link from there.
Hey, I was able to acquire many resources, all to glorify your.
There we go. And I'm guessing that won't actually show the video on the channel until the video has been completed. So go ahead and toss this.
Of course not. I will not fail you.
Toss this into general.
Rapid stop.
Okay, so that's the actual video of this. Yeah, we should definitely take some time later to try and figure out that extension because it looks like a useful extension. I'm curious that. I see. So this text right here So this is a separate chat window that exists within Jitsi itself. This isn't necessarily being pulled from Rocket Chat or anything like that, but think of view like this. It's weird because you can't grab things and just kind of like move them around, and kind of like if you wanted to yeah, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad idea, because it helps people see, what's going on. The only thing that is different about it is if you actually want to show a video of people when they're talking. But at the same time, I know that not a lot of people are confident in putting their face, directly onto a chat channel that's going up. So it might actually not be a bad idea to kind of go with a format like this. And what we could end up doing is something like, hey, if you want to chat, or if you want to ask the speaker a question, you would do so in the Jitsi chat itself. And then it also kind of gives the presenter the option to kind of either throw up links or whatever into the Rocket Chat itself. Yeah, okay, so there's also that where you can do like the raise your hand, whatever. But this is more so for people that maybe are watching but aren't necessarily participating. And it might be good to also just have that. Yeah, because that's the thing with these is that if you have a meeting, you're not necessarily going to have like 20 people all, talking or whatever. But anyway, I guess so. Since we've got this, the best it's going to be for a while. I'm just going to kind of go right into it a little bit here and talk about some of the things that we had planned on doing. So.
If it falls into the ashes, the Taugerians are doomed. Not to mention the gut, which would be me in this particular scenario.
I'm going to try using Chrome and see if my camera will actually cooperate.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so I just realized one of those things where, hey, when you're screen sharing, you might want to check what your most recent visited links are and just get that working correctly. Anyway, yeah, so March for Science. So, as many of you are aware, the March for Science is happening this Saturday. It's happening all over the place. It initially started as just a march in Washington, but since then it's kind of merged out to a bunch of different areas. And so, for example, if I go to California and look at all these California marches, there's tons. And from what I know, the main places where people are going to be participating, there's the Los Angeles one, there is the San Francisco one, there's also a San Diego one. There's a bunch. I know that specifically for the Bay Area folks, they're going to be going to, like the Bay Area San Francisco folks are going to be going to the San Francisco March. And I know that the greater LA area Pirate Party people are going to be going to the Los Angeles March. And we've set up just a bunch of different places where we're going to have people there, and we're going to be handing out either business cards or just something like that, so that we can kind of start getting the word out about Pirate Party, and also just the Pirate Party also links up to science and evidence-based policies and stuff like that. So actually what we could do at this point then is I'm going to post basically a question, or not really a question, but kind of like a statement into the general chat and Rocket Chat. I think it'll be easier to put there. It's going to be a general question regarding.
What's wrong, kid?
Hey, Laura,
Sorry,
if you could
guys.
turn off your.
Yeah,
That's
I
fine.
myself. Sorry.
That's okay. Okay, that's just a kind of a part of life there, I guess. But so for anyone that is still connected, one of the things that we had gotten was that if I go to the polls, we asked a bunch of questions about Pirate Party platform of what phrases we should and should not include in the folder for promotional flyer. And one of those things was including the phrase incentives for decentralized water, wind, and solar power. And some people might ask, like, where did this actually come from? And if you go to the Falkbinge Pirate Wheel, this was actually one of the kind of like parts of that. So I'm bringing up the Pirate Wheel right now, and let me go ahead and actually share this with the screen. Chrome tab, let's go with here. So if you're looking at this right now, let me go down here and then blow this up. So if you look down here from swarm economy, so citizens, not corporations, make the economy, volunteer work is valued. Over to participation, everybody's participation is not only possible, but overwhelmingly positive. And then over here, you kind of have energy. Uranium power is replaced with thorium, and incentives for decentralized water, wind, and solar. So what I found was kind of interesting because this was one of basically the policies that has been, and obviously, version 2012, 11.10. So it's still kind of like 4 or 5 years old, but a lot of these things still kind of are relevant in this day and age. And I think that the main discussion question was, is this truly a Pirate Party principle? Is it something that we as California should be pushing for? Now, me personally, I would say that yes, it's one of those things that is important for me, and I think it was also important for California in the concept of pushing for renewable energies, whether it be wind, solar. In some countries, it's geothermal or water. You have all of these different sort of places where I think that depending on the climate, depending on the environment of wherever your Pirate Party is, then I really feel like that this should probably be something that is there. And I think that Ryan just stated that it's important to include in the platform because we should promote development of green technology wherever possible. I think that the main discussion question or the main discussion point against it was the concept of decentralized, because the very concept of most power systems is that you have a central point where that power is generated and then is distributed to all of its customers. And also you go into that too with saying that, like, so for example, solar on its own, yes, is a good source of energy, but the issue is that you still have to be able to figure out how to put that. Hey Laura, you're still.
Hey, shoot. I hope I'm muted.
Okay, thanks.
I thought I was muted. Sorry.
That's okay. No, that's don't worry about it. But anyway, what I was saying is that, like, you know, with power, it's sort of thing like solar power, for example. You still need to get to plug yourself back into the grid so that you can get any of the incentives for that, which would be, yes, part of the idea of being connected to a grid when you're doing solar is that you, over time, get money back for putting power back into the grid. And that's one of those things that sometimes is kind of an iffy sort of part about it. But if there is anybody that would like to kind of like go with their sort of, I really wish that the people that voted no on this could really kind of voice their concerns with it, because we kind of had we had 4 people that voted nay, and it was Gilly Grace, B Bridge, Long John Silver, and Jake's Mora. And it would be interesting to hear their side of it instead of just having 4 people that are, for it, because then that's kind of like it's an unbalanced discussion. I see. So if I recall, the debate was over the word decentralization, but not even on the validity of decentralized power, but on the public appeal of decentralization, as opposed to a different word like resilient or local. But I mean, this whole thing is just sort of like a. Let me go ahead and change what I'm sharing here. Let's go ahead and share this again, just so people can see the different chat that we have going on here. And actually, since I've gotten this all figured out and it started and it's actually running and all that, I'm going to go ahead and post a link in general to Rocket Chat and all that kind of stuff. So. But yeah, I just sent a message to everyone basically in the channel. If they're around, it'd be kind of cool. So I will say that after getting this all set up and after getting all the login information, all that kind of stuff squared away, that starting this up was a lot faster, I think, than doing it through the Google Hangouts. And I'm not sure if someone in Rocket Chat could tell me if my voice quality is good or bad. That would be actually good to get some feedback on.
Your voice quality is fine.
Okay.
How am I?
You're good.
Okay. I just wish I could get my microphone working. Sorry, not my microphone, my camera working.
Yeah.
The microphone's working fine. I'm not sure about my brain. But yeah, because I present, I'm an officer and stuff, it would be nice to have my camera working.
Yeah. What I like about this is that with doing it in this format, it's a lot less likely for someone that's in the Hangouts, for example, to accidentally close the chat or to accidentally screw up the streaming, and all of a sudden the stream just cuts out or something like that. So far, I actually do like this kind of iteration of it. I just wish it was kind of more in a format where I could grab any one of the people that are watching and move them into the center, or minimize or enlarge or whatever the one of the screens that I'm looking at, something like that. It would be nice if I had more control over that. And it looks like that plugin might be able to do that, but it looks like we might have to actually do some coding with it or something to make it actually work. Not sure about that. Alt, I see. That's cool. Yeah, feel free to jump into the actual Rocket Chat, and if you want to throw in your actual, webcam and mic, or just mic, whatever. That's the other thing I like about this too, is that it's very easy for someone just to hop in, and they don't necessarily, feel like they have to be using their mic or feel like they have to be using their webcam. Because I think it's more so about having a real-time conversation that can be recorded and then played back for people that are interested in the party, rather than always wanting to see faces associated with the party. But I mean, both are good, but I think it's better to just have a quicker access to the conversation than it is to, necessarily have everyone talking at the same time. Yeah, so Alex just said, JD had a good point in the decentralization line in the outreach channel. I would support removing decentralization from the environmental line just because it's not clear to me that a decentralized approach is always the right approach when we're talking about generating electrical power. That seems like a matter for evidence-based, flexible policymaking, and I think that's true. I think that means that go back up and click on Team's invite message. So I'm not sure what this is. Like, I went to general and started the video chat from there. So it's entirely possible that he pressed a video button in a different channel than general, my guess. Because right now it looks like everyone's been able to get in here just fine. I mean, he's the only one that seems to have had the problem with getting in.
Can you guys see me now?
Yeah, and actually it's kind of cool because what I see is in the Jitsi chat, I see the screen share, which is just the Rocket chat, and then I see an icon of you in the bottom, basically next to these other sort of like just
Yay, I'm live.
generic avatars.
And here comes a child. I'm muting now.
But yeah, because I think one of the problems with I don't know who fellow Jitster is. I think that might be. So the weird thing I found was that to actually chat in the Jitsi thing, you actually have to enter a random screen name. So it's almost like a weird sort of thing where Google Hangouts, where you still have a separate username than what you're using in Rocket Chat and all that kind of stuff. So I still think it's easier than, and maybe it's for people that want to specifically be anonymous. I'm not sure. Yeah, I can see that. No one company should own a monopoly on power in the state. Well, it's both Edison and shoot, what's the other one? SDG&E, I believe. Also, maybe that is Edison. I'm just confusing these things. It's been a while since I've actually that's what Pacific Gas and Electric. Yeah, it's kind of like there are two power companies in the state, and they've kind of just like internet service providers, for example, they have decided to kind of split it in half, being like, hey, you take this side of the country and we'll take this one, and let's agree to not compete with one another in either side. And that's kind of the situation we have with power, where and actually, so back in the day when I wanted to start doing Bitcoin mining, one of the biggest challenges to doing that in California is that the price per kilowatt hour of power out here is just insane compared to other states. Like most states, they pay like between 6 and 10 cents per kilowatt hour for their energy. California, on the other hand, they have tiers, and depending on how much power you use, your power usage increases the amount per kilowatt hour that they're then required to pay for on your bill. So you were looking at a tier 1 power usage of paying like 12 cents up per kilowatt hour, up to say 100 or 120 total kilowatt hours. Once you start going up, and then like you get to tier 5 and you're paying literally 30 cents per kilowatt hour. Yeah, that's me talking right now, Andrew. And it's insane. It's insane.
So then I wonder is entangling the power people have with the monopoly issue, and that's where people are running into, like maybe the word decentralized entangles those two issues, and by not having the word decentralized in there, then you're untangling the two issues, and then you can deal with them separately.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing. So I'm getting an echo. I'm not sure if someone.
Yeah, maybe this makes it redundant with the monopoly issue.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. So am I echoing in the YouTube stream as well? Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely echoing. I think that's being caused by someone else that is using it. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
If somebody has the YouTube window and the stream open at the same time, it could cause, and the chat open at the same time, it could cause an echo.
Yeah, I think that's you.
The YouTube thing open,
I mean,
and I don't hear an echo. Do I echo?
so you're not echoing, but I'm hearing myself echo in your stream. And I don't have the window up anywhere. So I think that you actually have like a speaker that's getting my stuff and also like go ahead and mute yourself real quick.
Okay, yeah, that might be the thing that because we both have our microphone at the same time.
Yeah, so I think going forward that when we do stuff like this, it might be a good idea for people just to invest in just a very simple pair of headphones. Additionally, also most of the time speakers will have a little headphone jack like right in the top. So it might be worth it just to have something like that so that we can have conversations with each other and then not cause audio problems that make it hard for a viewer to watch or something like that. So that's just something to remember in the future that I think might help. But one of the other things that I was thinking about trying is that if we do have more conversations like this, is to actually run it like a debate where you present a question and you give someone a certain time frame to respond, and then you let somebody else basically have the floor and let them talk about their stuff. And I think that this will be very helpful going forward, especially when we're having hardcore conversations about platform and policy discussions, and also discussions about bylaws and basically these sort of constitutional convention type things where we're actually setting up rules and all that. So it might be helpful to have everyone kind of on the same page when it comes to that, because yes, the technology is something that's hard to get around, but with time it's something that I think we can work on.
Testing, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, yay.
Yep, no echo.
Yay.
Okay, on the energy issue, it sounds like decentralization is standing for 3 or so things: resilience, anti-monopoly. Wow. I feel like that's a word that doesn't exist. So I can't even really pronounce it. And renewables that adapted to region sound about right. I see. City ownership of the power distribution system in addition to the hydro plant. Okay. So yeah, I mean, these are things that are all very much part of it. And whatever policy we do come up with has to be one that takes the particular region into account. And maybe for the purpose of like future, public handouts, because the one thing I want to make a note of on the foldover handout is that the decentralized power or whatever that's already been included on the foldover that we're going to be handing out. So it's kind of too late to change that. So that's just going to go out there into the public. And it might be interesting actually to kind of get feedback that's just randomly unsolicited from people that end up getting these business cards or foldovers that we end up handing out at these science marches. Also, I do want to say one thing is that the first sort of event that Pirates participated in was the Women's March, but I'm not sure, we didn't necessarily have a kind of like conscious planned effort of handing out materials or trying to raise awareness of the Pirate Party. So this will be kind of one of our first sort of events where we're joining the public and protesting basically the apparent silence of science and evidence-based decision making that is seemingly quite lacking in this current administration and in this current leadership, without even naming any names. I don't even think you really don't even need to, because it's not just one particular person that's promoting some sort of an anti-science agenda. It seems to be, in general, the entire current administration and the people behind them. And I think this will just be good for the standpoint of pirates to actually start getting out there and having a discussion and basically being like, hey, we exist. Because right now we're just kind of like, we're right up there with the fringe groups, like the I mean, it's pretty apparent in these sort of things that I occasionally see posted on our Facebook groups. Like, for example, and I've been doing this on the Facebook stuff, because sometimes we'll get stuff like links or people complaining about chemtrails or pushing some sort of a weird fake news argument or something onto our Facebook posts. And it's actually kind of telling that how big of an impact this sort of war on science has had on the general public. And with the hope that we can find people that are actually on the same page. But,
Testing. Can you hear me?
Yep. You're just fine.
Yay. Okay, I'm trying my headset now with the microphone, and I'm not sure how well it's picking me up.
Yeah, it's picking up just fine.
Yay.
So yeah, I do think that. Go ahead.
And there's a reason why we're doing kind of a minimal run of those fold-over cards, just so we have something for the science search. And then once the tweaks into the language, then we can do a bigger of more of them.
Yeah, and I think that this is very much a.
Don't mind the beeps in the back of my tablet's charging.
Okay, Micaboo, I love you. Yes, the kids want to be around their mom right now.
Yeah, that's fine. So one thing I was going to say was that I think one of the first things that we would have to do is that determine a shared definition that everyone can agree on of what decentralization means and how it applies to California and how it might apply to different regions in California. And I think that when we go hardcore into deciding platform and policy on this particular issue, that we should take everything into account and not just, say, oh, we're just going to use this specific sort of definition to soundbite and say that's the end all be all. That is not the case at all. This is more of, part of this is just taking an issue and then kind of looking at where it best fits for the Pirate Party of California, and also where it best fits just for the region itself. So yeah, this will definitely be one of those policy issues. It's very much a case-by-case basis type thing. Yeah, I mean, if anybody would like to participate in the voice chat, feel free. Because right now it's just been Laura and myself.
Yeah, my objective is just to test things out, because I'm going to need to be doing this eventually if we move to this platform.
Well, and it's one of those things where, if you're having a discussion with people about why they should join the Pirate Party, they're going to want to know, like, so what is your policy on blah, blah, blah. Like, for example, today on the Bay Area Pirate page, I had someone just randomly ask, hey, what is the California Pirate Party stance on basically secession of California from the United States? And basically I was like, well, I personally don't think that it's a good idea, just because it could cause problems for the rest of the people in the country, because the country often looks towards California in helping to push certain types of progressive policies. And when you have, that presence suddenly gone, you're basically leaving all these people that are still in the country without that voice anymore. And suddenly you're just like, hey, this, huge voice and power that was within the country is now gone. Like, how do you handle that? And I think that as pirates, we owe a responsibility, not just to us, not just to our state, but to the entire country, to be able to sort of keep everything sane. And the person responded basically saying, well, I don't think you guys are good for me. And the weird thing was, this was without him saying anything about what he wanted or he thought or whatever. So after that, I basically said, I totally invite you to, um, ask us or to have a discussion on why you think it's important. We can actually have a discussion, basically saying, this is what you think, this is what I think, and this is why, whatever. Yeah, and I do agree with that with Tanager, that not necessarily every single position needs a response. And then there are other ways you can go around that too, is that, so for example, one of the discussions that will obviously come up, just because it's so polarizing in American politics, is that I guarantee you, if you talk about the U.S. Pirate Party, someone will ask you, what is the U.S. Pirate Party, or sorry, what is the California Pirate Party's stance on abortion? And for something like that, you would say, well, we don't necessarily have a specific stance on abortion, but we do believe in, evidence-based policies for, for medical issues. And if you just frame it as more of a, this is a medical thing that, should have basically rules that are made from a medical standpoint, then you're kind of not necessarily saying that you agree or disagree with the concept of abortion, but you're just saying like, well, we don't necessarily have a specific voice on this, specific thing, but our other, our other policies and, platform, positions will most likely inform, you into the direction of which way we would go. And I think to a lot of certain really hot button topics, we can kind of look at what they are, look at the areas that they touch, and let's say in a wiki, just say something like, we don't necessarily have a moral stance on the issue, but we believe that this issue can be answered by looking at this specific policy, platform decision that we have.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to us getting through the debate of wiki versus etherpad versus whatever, so that we can start having those discussions about what evidence-based stance that we can, things like abortion.
Yeah. Because I mean, we're gonna get asked that, I guarantee you. And,
yeah.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah, because just off the top of my head, what, and the research I've done into it, because I'm a woman and these things affect me, is that long-term effective birth control, like implants and IUDs and all that other kind of stuff, long-term stuff, not condoms, but the really long-term stuff is the single best way to prevent abortions.
Yeah, and
so
then that becomes
we can be
mostly
pro-family, pro-birth control, because there is a lot of evidence behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, getting off my soapbox about that now.
That's fine. And I think that's part of it, and that rolls into healthcare and stuff like that, and having certain things that, and I think that for a lot of people that it's helpful to have a good handle on the pirate wheel, because you can answer a lot of questions easily just from looking at that and kind of comparing it maybe to what the region is looking at and stuff like that. Yeah, the problem with abortion is that it's very much people are informed about it or have viewpoints that are formed about it, not necessarily always from evidence-based sources, and they may have a moral reason or a religious reason or whatever. And I think that that's one of the reasons that it's such a hard thing to talk about, because no matter how medical you are about it, there's going to be a certain human sort of, element about it that is going to be a human emotional element that is always going to be part of that.
Were there any other things any other line items on the fold out that needed to be discussed?
Not really. I mean, I looked at all of the polls that I posted in the in Slack, and the decentralized power was the only one that had nay votes on. Like everything else was pretty much like, yeah, that's cool. Like I think one of them had like an abstain vote, and that was really it. The rest of them passed with like between 7 and 12 votes.
Yeah, that's pretty typical for other polls we've had.
Mhm.
In the ballpark of 10 people participating.
Yeah, which, I mean, when you think about it, that's for the amount of people that we have registered for, our chat. That's about somewhere around a 10% participation, which isn't bad considering that this is completely a, just a voluntarily type sort of, voting system that we have in place. But at the same time, it does help us get an idea of what we can expect our voting participation will be as we grow as a group. Because right now, let's say that we have 75 people that are included in, our general chat room. So then maybe going forward, we can say, okay, going forward, we can expect anywhere between, 8 to 10% of voter participation when it comes to issues that we're handling internally. But over the long term, that's not necessarily horrible, because if you go from 75 people to 100 people to 200 people, by the time you get 203 or whatever, you're getting a lot more voter participation as the group grows and builds as an organization. And I think that generally what happens is that as the party gets more involved in deciding on candidates and deciding on places to run and stuff like that, that our participation will get a lot better. And events like this March for Science are a way for us to really kind of, get ourselves out there and just start the conversation with people. I think for me, it was really the whole reason I started this was just because I no longer felt represented by democratic policies, because they just hadn't been working, and they, this whole mess of an election just happened, and I was kind of like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be something that's kind of in between that can just find some sense of normalcy or whatever.
All right, now that I've gotten things working,
Sure.
I'm going to sign off and go pay attention to my kids. So
Okay. Thank you for
I'll
helping
see you
us
guys
out.
later.
Yep.
Oh, I'm glad we finally got it working.
Yeah.
Yay. Bye. See you next time.
Bye. Team-based, deep-rooted emotions. Yeah, I think that we should definitely try using Rocket Chat next time. And in the meantime, let's try and figure out this extension that looks like it would be nice, because you can actually decide what to show on the video and whatnot. Yeah, come up with alternative language, but it's too long with the folder card. I think with that, what we'll probably end up just doing is just saying something like, hey, this, because the original problem was the incentives for decentralized water, wind, and solar power. I think really all we could just do, for like, if we do another handout after we've had discussions and whatnot, is just like literally just say incentives for water, wind, and solar power, and just kind of leave the decentralized part out for now as we figure out an actual definition for it and what it means for the the few regions in California, and especially what we would want to do is that for an issue like this, we would want to look at the different types of renewable energies that are available in each of the um, regions of California and think of policy based on that, not necessarily saying like, oh, well, everyone in Los Angeles has to play this way, or we could say, well, for these regions which are able to easily run solar power, or for these regions that are easily able to run wind power, because solar power is probably really good for San Diego and LA and places like that, then not necessarily the best for somewhere like Northern California, because we have a lot. We have Northern California, for example, has 2 or 3 months where it just rains the whole time. So any energy you would be getting pulled from solar is just it's not a thing. In those situations, maybe you could be pulling wind instead. And I think that you kind of have to basically say that as a party, yes, we believe in using renewable energies, but we have different platform policies per region. And I think that's something that going forward is just something that we would probably want to do. And yes, depending on where we put it in the wiki or Etherpad or whatever, my personal thing is that if we have people that are willing to take the time to input stuff, ultimately it's not really going to matter if we go to wiki or the Etherpad, just whichever one is more accessible for the group as a whole and accessible for people that want to learn about the party, and just go for whichever one basically that people actually work on, because that's one thing that kind of boils down to this, is that you can argue about something over and over and over again, but if nobody actually does work towards using one or the other, then you're just going to continue arguing about it, and meanwhile your Etherpad or wiki is just going to sit there empty because you're just too worried about arguing which one is better. I think that's one thing that we need to kind of get over in this in general. Transportation costs. So I think for now I'm actually going to stop streaming this, and just kind of if we want to continue this conversation within Jitsi we can, but I think for now we've kind of posting for the record. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Tanner. I'll let you. I think it might be funny to set up a text-to-speech option with all this stuff. But yeah, actually, what I plan on doing after this is over is I'm going to be rereading the conversation, pulling out elements that I believe should be looked at for later, and then just probably throwing it onto the wiki itself, and just have a sort of like a evolving page over this specific policy. Decentralization permits local generation, which means that you expend less energy on transporting stored energy. Yeah, that makes sense, because like transporting stored energy, for example, would be something like how like a power plant runs on coal or oil, where you still need to pay for the transportation of that energy before it can be converted into electrical energy. Yeah. it was one thing that's actually starting to happen in California is that the companies are starting to get aggressive on how much they will charge someone to set up their solar power so that they will get pushed back into the grid. And they've actually been very aggressive about trying to basically pass laws that would require you, if you set up solar, to actually have it be like someone from the power company has to come out and they have to basically give you a license for it. They have to come out and say, yes, this is safe. So you end up having this sort of thing where a person can go through all of the work of setting up their own system and doing all that, and then basically get screwed by the local power company by saying, oh, well, your system isn't safe enough, so we can't push this back into the grid. I think that's one of the biggest problems that is going to be affecting renewable energy forms. Yeah, and one of the funniest things about California is that besides all of the, is this renewable right for this region, you have a certain element of not in my backyard where even after all this, sometimes you have to fight homeowner associations because they would say that, oh, our planned community doesn't want solar power because solar power isn't aesthetically pleasing to the rest of the homeowners. Yeah, that's what the Tesla Powerwall thing, which I thought is it's a brilliant idea. I think that Elon Musk is actually trying his hardest to try working with, obviously part of his company, Solar City. So he's still doing this for profit, but he still wants to try and make solar just easier for people to use and easier to plug back into the grid or, yeah. Yep, generate locally, store locally, and transport out or in depending on need. Yeah, one of the other things that people sometimes don't think about with solar, for example, is that more and more people are renting from a property. They're not necessarily buying properties, especially in the Silicon Valley area, for example. So unless you're making tons of money and can afford a house, most likely you're just going to be renting and you will have no control over whether or not that property has solar power actually enabled on that property or not. That is one other thing to kind of remember when it comes to stuff like this. Yeah, he's kind of like a Musk tries very hard to kind of sit in the middle. Like he was one of the few tech people that was cool with joining like Trump's little sort of like Kings of Industry sort of group, and I think that a lot of the pushback that he got from people saying like, oh, you shouldn't even be part of that. Like, well, maybe it's good to have some people like him on something like that because then you've got a person that, which is, it's very obvious at this point that Frencherism. Yeah, Frencherism is a topic of its own that CAPP should address. Definitely, especially in certain locations that are more prone to renting than others. Yeah, disenfranchisement, and leave it all of the fun things about people getting displaced by tech workers, and there's just a lot of stuff there. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I think just to kind of sum up what we've been talking about is just that we went through and discussed the concept of the decentralized solar, wind, and water as a policy or a platform for the California Pirate Party to stand behind, and it's more of a conclusion that it's going to be different for each region, and it's going to be kind of a different policy for um, each kind of like locality and county and whatnot. Um, and there will basically need to be a lot of specific things depending on where the party is operating at. Oh, it's not just him. I mean, the entirety of the of Silicon Valley is anti-union. I think one of the best ways to get yourself fired and blacklisted from the entire company is to try and unionize it in like any software engineer job. It's pretty much impossible to even consider that. But because as much as unions have helped certain forms of industry, um, in certain industries that exist today, you're basically giving yourself a death sentence to even think about it. So it's just one of those things that should be sort of talked about eventually. But yeah, I think if that's it, we can probably wrap it up. And just also say that again, we're going to be going to for some of the March for Science things that are going to be happening on the 22nd. And that we hope to have some sort of representation there just so that people can start asking questions about us and that we can just generally start throwing some stuff out there. Yeah, and the stream has been going on for about an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes. They've more or less kind of accomplished the goal of testing this stuff out. Yeah, it is really kind of funny because the California Pirate Party really is. There are a lot of things about Silicon Valley that the party can identify with, and there are also a lot of things about the party that don't necessarily jive with the way that things are currently being operated from Silicon Valley. So it is a very interesting dichotomy. Okay, yeah, no, I think this is good. I think that going forward, we should definitely consider using this instead of Google Hangouts, just because it's a lot easier for people to connect to and watch. And there are just a couple of things about Rocket Chat in particular that we need to tackle and take care of. Yeah, because someone's doing something good doesn't make them immune to criticism. That's correct. Because yeah, while on one hand, Elon Musk might be pushing for renewables, on the other hand, I've heard that working for Tesla is insane. People are working, 50, 60-hour weeks, and that the burnout rate from people that work there is actually pretty high. But they also pay really, really well too. For some positions, then for others they don't. So it really depends on stuff like that. It's really hard when you're working for a person as ambitious as someone like that, because then you're kind of expected to put in the same amount of your life into it as they are. So I've heard the same thing about Apple. I've heard the same thing about Microsoft during the Gates years. Disney even was one of those places that was like that too, especially when it comes to like Pixar and places like that. But But yeah, I think that for now we're just going to kind of yeah, preferring an open source alternative when deploying infrastructure. So Rocket Chat is good. Yeah, definitely. Yep. Well, I think this is going to start kind of verging off into stuff that we're not actually talking about. So I'm going to end the stream for now, and we should definitely consider using this for our regular meetings as well. Okay, that's about it. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for watching.